Hey, what's going on? It's E. Jones, bottom to the top hoops.
Black Elvis, we're in the building. What's good, E?
As always, we in the building, man. Welcome back to another episode of Bottom to the Top Hoops podcast. Bringing you that content and information about basketball, with most specific New York City basketball. Always want to give a shout out to our sponsors. El, you want to do the honors?
Yeah, big shout out to our title sponsor, T-Mobile, holding us down from day one.
Yes, sir. Big shout out to MMCC, the world famous Harlem Wizards doing the WizFit Challenge, and everybody else who helps make this show happen. Big shout out to the sponsors that we had along the way. Talk to them NYC, JT's Juices and Teas. Thank you for all of the support that you've given us. Without further ado, El, we're going to talk about basketball, but we would be remiss if we didn't discuss probably the most significant, relevant thing happening in the news right now alongside of the COVID-19, which, by the way, I did get my first shot. Not encouraging you or discouraging you. I'm just putting the information out there that, it wasn't a bad process. I feel good. And I think some people may be nervous. They might, everybody's choice is their choice. But, we always offer transparency. So I did get my first shot. I'll have another one 3 weeks from now. And I'm feeling okay for now,
Well, they say it's the second shot that's the banger, not the first one.
I'm running to it. Bang me, Paul. Oh, that sounds crazy. But
Pause.
The kids is going to kill me for that one. But we're not editing it either. We're not editing it. We're not editing it. I'm grown. I'm 47.
Yeah.
That's the out. Every time you say something flagrant, I'm a grown man,
Yo, so let me ask you this. I know it's probably because I know the travel ban with you, because you're going to be traveling soon with the Wizards. But, there's a lot of people who are constantly asking me, are you taking the vaccine? Or, only thing I can tell people is, man, try to do as much research as you can. Mm-hmm. Talk to people who have taken the vaccine, and, that's pretty much it. It's like not a lot of advice to give. I have a video that we could show.
Here are some important questions and answers that have actually been given by the government before considering getting vaccinated. If I get vaccinated, can I stop wearing a mask? Government says no. If I get vaccinated, will the restaurants, bars, schools, fitness clubs, hair salons, and other government-declared non-essential businesses reopen? And will people be able to get back to work like normal? Government answer, no. If I get vaccinated, will I be resistant to COVID-19? The government answers, maybe, but we don't know exactly, so probably not. If I get vaccinated, at least I won't be contagious to others, right? Government answer, no, the vaccine doesn't stop transmission. Well, if I get vaccinated, how long will the vaccine last? Government answer, no one knows. All COVID vaccines are still in the experimental stage, and it's likely you'll need to get boosters to stay current. Then there's the issue of variant strains. Well, if I get vaccinated, can I stop social distancing? Government answer, no. If my parents, grandparents, and myself all get vaccinated, can we hug each other again? Government says no. So what's the benefit of getting vaccinated? The government's answer is hoping that the virus won't kill you. Next question, are you sure the vaccine won't injure or kill me? The government gives no guarantees. If statistically the virus won't kill me to the tune of 99.97% survival rate, why should I get vaccinated? Government's answer, to protect others. So if I get vaccinated, I can protect 100% of people I come in contact with? Government answer, no, absolutely not. If I experience a severe adverse reaction, long-term side effects, which are still unknown, or die from the vaccine, will I or my family be compensated from the vaccine manufacturer or the government? Government's answer, absolutely not. The government and vaccine manufacturers have zero liability regarding this experimental drug. So to summarize, the COVID-19 vaccine does not provide immunity, does not eliminate the virus, does not prevent death, does not guarantee you won't get it, does not stop you from passing it on to others, does not eliminate the need for mask wearing and social distancing, does not eliminate the need for travel bans, does not eliminate the need for business closures, doesn't eliminate the need for lockdowns, and if you take it and get harmed by it, the companies and governments will not be liable and you will not be compensated. So if you're going to roll up your sleeve and play the part of gullible guinea pig and take this experimental, unapproved drug that offers zero benefit and could cost you your life, you are on your own. If you get something out of this video, please give it a like and share it with others. It could literally save their lives. Once you take this vaccine, you cannot untake it.
So just to give people the information in case you did or did not know, the vaccine does not prevent you from getting COVID-19 ever again. It just reduces your chances significantly. You can catch COVID-19 again after you've been vaccinated. So with us, I think the United States is now at 31% vaccinated, 2 doses, and they're trying to get to 60 before we can completely open it up. So if you do the math from when Biden put his plan in, when they started vaccinations till now, then you could kind of figure out what the math is when we get to 60%. So with that being said, man, my wife was a big proponent of it. I weighed my options and I ultimately decided based on work, lifestyle, being around people, trying to stay safe and doing my research. And I took the Pfizer, by the way. So that's that. Nextly, want to talk about the George Floyd case and Derek Chauvin, the officer who, in my opinion, murdered George Floyd, was found guilty. First reaction, El.
Very, very happy because it's something that we haven't seen. Honestly, it seems like throughout history. I don't, it's sad when you look at all of the killings at the hands of our officers who's really supposed to protect and serve. And for us to really get this verdict, it was big. I was looking at social media. I'm seeing Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. They're crying. Do you know what that says? That says literally they've probably never seen this type of justice in their life.
Well, I don't want to downplay this because I know that some closure is needed from his family, his children, his brothers, sisters, all of his close family and friends. There is some, I guess, vindication in it, but it still doesn't bring him back.
No.
Right? But
no.
You want to just be able to know that the legal system, the justice system has done just that. They've brought the officer to justice.
Well, let me just say this, just for the people, because the people who have been watching the trial knows what's going on. What we have to do literally is completely tear down our judicial system, because the only reason this cop is going to jail is because it was caught on camera. Some of the justification that the lawyers tried to come up with was unbelievable. I mean, they literally tried to take the attention and the fact that this man had his knee on his neck for 9 minutes plus. They tried to justify in all other aspects, and that has to stop.
Even to the point where it came down to defamation of character.
It has to stop.
What is what he did prior to that moment have to do anything with him being you are not the judge and jury. You don't get to say who lives and who dies. If he gets arrested, that's one thing. If he gets tried and convicted, that's one thing. But in terms of taking somebody's life, that's we don't get to play God.
No.
Not as human beings. So I'm gonna just give my quick thoughts on it. I truly, honestly feel that the people of the jury had a tremendous amount of pressure. Kudos to them for being able to make a decision, right, wrong, or indifferent, that was courageous. You can't debate that. This was unprecedented to be able to go against, a cop and ultimately find a cop guilty where a cop goes to jail. So they were courageous, but I have to believe that for you to be unbiased it's not possible. You've seen all of the information leading up to this point. You've seen how much he was just so heinous and so non-compassionate for somebody.
Hateful. When you look at the track record of all of these cops who are killing us, we're unarmed, we're not a threat, and we're complying, which means that's hate.
And in that case, you had to just look at the facts and make a decision based on that. And I do feel like, I'll go back and, I'm not going to even give my opinion on OJ, but it really became a race thing. Johnny Cochran did what he did, his legal team did what they did. And when they said OJ was not guilty, it felt like everybody on my campus who was African-American just jumped for joy. And then, some of my Caucasian friends were outraged. So for the most part, and I haven't been watching enough of the news, so I'm not going to speak about what I don't know. I feel like there hasn't been a lot of civil unrest with the guilty verdict. Had it been the opposite, I don't know if we would have been able to do this podcast because both of our buildings might be burned. Right?
The fact.
There was going to be some hell to pay. And ultimately, thank God, probably more lives lost because it was going to get ugly.
Let me say this, E, too, and I really wish our viewers can really listen to what I'm trying to say. And I'm not trying to sound heinous and I'm not trying to sound really hurtful, but I really believe some of us as a people do things the total opposite way. Now, let's just say this verdict would have went left. What were we going to do as a community? Destroy our own community? I don't understand. Now, if you want to destroy something, you go where you don't live. You don't do it where you live. And I think that's all a part of the pattern and the process to keep us really in a stagnant area, because now we got to go back and now we got to fix our stores. Now we got to fix our parks or whatever we done vandalized, but it's ours. We never go up to their areas and do that. And that's only because it's almost like the same thing with the Capitol. You as a Black people, you go storm their areas, they're shooting you. And they're going to justify for it, and they will get away with it.
Well, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
So my thing is, what we have to do now as a people, as the parents of these children, we have to start communicating and talking with our children and letting them know and letting them see how the world is and how they view you as a Black man. It's no knock to you.
Or woman.
Or woman, that's true. What about, Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, I'll say this, Al. It's a lot to unpack, but we have to, you talk about fixing the communities and fixing our mindset. We have to fix ourselves. There's a lot of hate for ours. I'm not even talking about our brothers and sisters within us. And I think that we don't love ourselves enough. We don't love our brothers and sisters enough. There's jealousy, greed, envy. There's all of these things that have been placed. We weren't born with that. And we don't come on this show to preach or to tell you what to do or how to do it, how to raise your children. But our passion is young people. And if you have been watching our show, you know that. And we want to contribute to the greater good. And sometimes it may come across as if we feel like our opinion is the law. It's definitely not that. And we usually preface it by saying this is our stance. But we do want to promote love. We do want to promote education. We do want to promote being resourceful. We do want to promote communicating effectively. We do want to promote, being astute, being timely, being professional. All of those things are so, so important to be able to show your children and then be able to teach your children then be able to get the information, process it, and apply it.
Yeah.
Like, let's turn the corner and take the numbers of the kids being incarcerated and move those numbers to the kids going to Princeton, right? Like, let's do that.
Yes.
And, I think leaders have to step up and, it's funny.
Well, leaders could step up all day, but there's a system put in place, and it's actually starting to be exposed now. Like, it's almost like running a race and you telling your opponent to have a 50-yard advancement on you starting the race. So you're literally playing catch up. I'll give a perfect example. Shout out to Kevin Watson because he stressed me and he asked me, please talk about Black Wall Street.
Even though Greenwood was known as Black Wall Street, it wasn't full of bankers. It was really just a thriving upper middle class community where people worked hard, played by the rules, and believed that they could get ahead. Except that this was a black community. And that did not sit well with many white residents in Tulsa. The white mob that attacked Greenwood burned 1,200 homes, looted dozens of shops, left nothing but ruins and rubble across 35 blocks, and massacred more than 200 black residents. But those horrific numbers don't even begin to do justice to the story. During and after the massacre, there were more than 6,000 arrests of black residents. Not one white person ever went to jail. For hundreds of years, Americans systematically stole black lives, black freedom, and black labor. A theft of labor and a transfer of wealth enshrined in law and enforced by violence. And the impact of that theft over a period of centuries has meant an enormous loss of wealth for individuals and families across generations. The challenge of African American wealth creation today is inextricably linked to the racial inequalities of the past. To me, there are no greater patriots in America's long history than the black citizens who are willing to die for a nation that was denying them their rights, in hopes that their service and sacrifice might redeem those rights for their children and grandchildren. The redemption that they sought for future generations is still far from complete. The crimes against black Americans still echo across the centuries, and no single law can wipe that slate clean. Not here in Tulsa or anywhere else. The time has come to fully commit ourselves to acknowledging our history and righting our country's wrongs.
Look at Tulsa, Oklahoma. You had a group of people who were doing well in life and they wanted their own, and they felt they were competent enough to conduct themselves that way. Built an area, thriving. They came in. I'm saying they, because I don't know who. It wasn't the cops. It was just a bunch of white people. They burnt it down. They killed them. So they're proving to you they need you in society in order to operate. Us now, we have to understand the value of who we are, our influence, and our dollar. Once we do that, they have to respect black people. It's just that simple.
Well, that's interesting because, in Black Wall Street, we had banks, we had law firms, we had, it was a community. And they say that the Chinese dollar circulates in the community 13 times before it goes out. He said that the Jewish dollar circulates 10 times. Ours is once.
Yeah, but that's by design.
Well, I'll say this too, and the Latino community is even more so than us. They say we stick together the least.
We know that, but also we are the only group of people that they've worked very, very hard to really divide our homes. I mean, you look at welfare, what it stands for. Welfare is literally just telling the woman, you don't need that man. That's all. But when you go to Jewish homes, they're still on welfare, but their man is in their home.
I'm going to just say this, man. And we don't claim that any of this information that we share is information that you should believe, but you should research it, right? So once you go and research, you'll be able to say, wow, that's something that I learned today. Well, that stuff was accurate. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Al. We came on the show today to, talk about a topic with relation to basketball, and the mood of the show just doesn't feel like that's apropos right now.
Yeah, right.
And with that being said, we're blessed to be able to have a platform and to be able to share and create influence and give positive information, or at least what we hope is positive information, and affect change. At the end of the day, that's what our goal is, to be able to affect change and have young people, really take stock of where they are in their mindset, their just their actions, and ultimately move in a positive direction or be better. Whatever it is, hopefully this information leaves you better served to be able to execute and produce whatever your desired goal or result that you want to achieve. And at the end of the day, man, we probably 20 minutes in right now. And it's always fun to be able to share, and I give you kudos and credit for being courageous and daring enough to share your opinions and thoughts transparently, and be able to understand that there is accountability for being outspoken. It's not like we're not met with some adverse comments or people who don't agree with us. I just think the way we put it, we're not downing anybody's community. Because I say I love us, it doesn't mean I hate anybody else.
Absolutely.
Hate can't drive out hate. The only thing that can drown out hate is love. Darkness can't drown out darkness. The only thing that can drive out darkness is light. We want to be the light, and we want to promote love. And at the end of the day, if you confuse our podcast with anything else, then you missed the message and you haven't been watching long enough. Do your research and understand our perspective, where we come from, what we represent, our families, and who we are as Black men who are proud, educated, and wanting to make change. Mm-hmm. I'll give you the last word, brother.
I just want to say this to our viewers, our parents with these Black children. You have to understand that. Stop and think for 1 second and listen clearly. And I don't want to come off like I'm like pinpointing or, trying to sound like I'm attacking. But when you see a people need to strip you of your culture, who you are, where you come from, then it's very easy to go along to get along, to just go with the flow of the television, to go with the flow of the radio, to go with the flow of the media in general. And the media knows how to persuade our young children's minds. This is why our parents have to be accountable. I'm going to end with this. In the early 90s, the cops said parents can no longer discipline their children. You should not hit your children. Why would the system tell me how to raise my child? I wish someone would have told my mother or my father how to raise me. And if you look at the big scope of things, this is why we have so many kids out of pocket, because the parents are not being held accountable. If your child is out there doing wrong, that's really you. That's your child. Just like when your child goes out there and do something good or positive, you want those kudos. So I want to end with parents. Let's step our game up, because they look at our children and they talk about our children, but it starts in the home.
Well said. So you saying some more asses need to be whooped.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We come from an era where our parents disciplined us. Now, all of a sudden, the biggest problem I've seen in the last 3 years are parents trying to be their children's friends. My parents never tried to be my friend till I was an adult. Now I can ease up off you. You're grown. Ain't much more I could say. But when you have parents trying to be their friends, you can see the lack of discipline. You can see the lack of respect.
And I'll say this, man. And you know, there's a fine line, right? And I believe in disciplined children. And I was, you know, disciplined physically in school and at home. There's parents who can discipline their child without doing that, right? Mm-hmm. There's some people that don't believe in it. Whatever it is, the bottom line is discipline is not negotiable.
Yes,
it is
needed.
Necessary. Mm-hmm. Man, thank you so much for sharing your feedback. This was a fantastic show. Make sure you check us out on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple TV, BeacomTV.com. Big shout out to the fam, Jerry Ice, D. Jones, everybody who supports Bottom to the Top and City Legends. Black Elvis, you got the last word, brother.
Big shout out to Off the Grid. Big shout out to Decisions. Shout out to Sean Black, Mikey. Check out their podcast. You got to know that. Got some new sponsors coming up. We've been negotiating, so look out for that. Just want to give props to the man upstairs, man, and thank him for the verdict, because I'm so happy we got the right verdict.